All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co. As you can see, got a whole mitt full of people chatting with us this morning. Crazy day in the market, and actually, as you can see, hey, wow, there's. I think we're live on YouTube now. So if you want to go watch over on YouTube, you can. It's Monday morning after a very crazy weekend, which interestingly enough saw Bitcoin break out right at the very end of the session on Friday, and basically held on to its rallies through the weekend, so that's encouraging. I also noticed two stocks. Remember we were talking on Friday, we had a cute little setup that stopped us out here. I just paper trade on NASDAQ, but we were thinking uppy anyway, and it was just a total FU move to wash out the weak hands. The little setup that we were following on the S&P seems to just be doing its thing right now. I don't really see any reason to change that thinking. So still feeling seasonally like the market's working its way higher into the end of the summer, which is pretty normal. Commodities a bit softer this morning. We saw the US dollar turn, and of course we got Willie Stupid. We got a nice MACD divergence. I suppose Sebastian might be seriously hunting nice little long setups on the US dollar index. And the exact opposite, especially on the euro, because it's got so much room to run. Haven't seen my little volume signal, though, that I've been waiting for to actually tell me that the bulls have given up here. So that might come in today. You can see OBB still pointing up here. Quite often, you know, and this is why I like to follow 13 EMA, you can see it acted as resistance here on the US dollar. And I suppose if we threw on the moving averages here, we'd probably see that, you know, markets just come right up against 13 EMA here. Works great as sort of a little short-term check, if you will. So we'll see how we resolve that 13 EMA going forward here. Was a bit surprised over the weekend to see gas prices at the pump were still high. That might be just a West Coast thing. Be interesting to see what you guys are seeing back east and across the globe. But on balance, actually a fairly quiet start to Monday morning on the broader market. Didn't really have an opportunity to look through the dashboard results in earnest today. Might do that later on today. Had a bit of a stressful Sunday, unfortunately. So not necessarily in the best frame of mind, but if anything, you know, that's probably a good lesson for all of us, in that this has absolutely nothing to do with the market, and it has my own personal life. Life has a bad habit of throwing you curveballs, guys. I mean, everybody. So if anything, what you really need to try and do, and this is sort of one trader talking to another trader, is you got to sort of compartmentalize. I don't know whether that's such a term. And just try not to let shit that's happening in the rest of your life spill over into your trading. Because if if you're having an emotional time, you know, it's very easy to take your frustrations out on the market. And of course, the market doesn't care. And sadly, you're going to actually get sucked into making emotional decisions, which is actually what the market wants you to be doing. So it can politely take your money from you. So if anything, yeah, you know, me personally, you know, coming back yesterday evening, I had to, you know, just simply, you know, in fact, even in the lounge, I told everybody, I was just like, I had a bad day, guys, so I'm not going to be doing a heck of a lot. If anything, you know, just cool your jets. If you need to trade, take, you know, maybe reduce bet size, maybe paper trade, whatever, until you yourself psychologically are in a happy place. So if anything, today's lesson for your journal is nothing really to do with the market and everything to do with just how your mental mindset is. And it's okay to check out every once in a while. You don't have to trade. What you really want to do is you have to set yourself up for success. So, you know, maybe a bit of words of wisdom from the old man today. You know, looking at, and it was interesting, we had the dashboard go ill there at the end of last week, and we were kind of musing, what would the dashboard look like when he decided to come back up? And you can see the market is very oscillation-y right now. We went through that bull phase, that was that run there. You can see the broader market's taking a bit of a pause here. And we get these funny little windows here where we're sort of stuck in limbo. The broader, you know, the fast breadth is coming down in a hurry here, and the slow breadth's going to take its time to sort of, you know, play catch up, if you will. And we see anything really dramatic jumping out at me? You know, the index ETFs on the medium term are looking 100%. And remember what we told you guys, remember when we looked at that NASDAQ weekly chart? Oh boy, things are looking scary longer term. And if anything, that kind of makes sense because here we are in August, right? Markets love to top out August, September-ish. So, you know, let's keep our eyes peeled for, you know, potential shorting opportunities heading into the fall. Now, if anything, is the time to start building your shopping list and, all right, what stocks are we going to trade heading into the fall to take advantage of those dumps. I might go through the list later on today and just look at some names. We were looking at things like Visa and stuff like that. We're just looking ridiculously toppy. Domino's Pizza, I remember there's another one that looks really toppy. So, you know, through the week or next week or two, we should probably start building a list of assets that we're really interested in, but, you know, maybe buying some put options. I think on balance, I'm going to leave the dashboard at that for today. If anything, I'm just pleased to see that Stuart got everything sort of back up and running, and sort of we're back in business, so we can look at that again in earnest over the coming days. Might as well pop on over to Bitcoin today and take a look at what's going on for the higher time frame. I started off the video here today with that weekly price chart. I think we did this on the Broiler Chicken show, but really, I don't think there's any huge difference here. I think, yeah, you know, if anything, what I find is that markets will set themselves up. So they'll move into a range, they'll set up the levels, and then you just have to simply listen to the market's message following the resolution of those levels. And we've been following this, well, actually I've dragged it up here now, but when we had it off of the previous high, we were watching this 38.2 like a hawk. And interestingly enough, when we went back to this cycle, this level was 38.2 as well. So it just goes to show, and in that particular cycle, we went up, we rallied and tested the highs, and then we failed, a la bear market. And we actually had a really nice short setup in the end of the summer of 2014. I don't know whether you guys remember that or not. So we were sort of humming and hawing. You know, we had lots of sort of frothy talk in the marketplace, buying a shitload of Bitcoins, all that kind of fun talk. And the market like literally set itself up. We came back to the 38.2. And if you're not familiar with this, I used to work with a guy out of New York called Ray Burchett. And he used to always say, do not make any decisions in the marketplace unless you see 38.2 resolved. And I think this is a perfect example where basically the market came down to 38.2 and just said, no, I'm still a bull. And we ratcheted up and took out the old highs. The good part about this now, and this has been sort of my thesis all along, is that I believe that we're heading into a long-term cycle pivot, which is a commodity pivot. So we should see commodity assets or hard assets or non-fiat assets, whatever you want to call them, we should see them peak. And I do believe that to a certain degree, Bitcoin is sort of, and cryptocurrencies have sort of stolen a bit of the thunder from classic sort of safe haven assets. So do we get, if we all go back and look at our 1980 gold chart, we see that into that fear cycle peak, gold went a little crazy. I don't think we're going to see that kind of, I don't think we're going to see that kind of a price appreciation in the gold market this cycle. If anything, like I said, I think a lot of the thunder is being stolen by things like cryptocurrencies. A lot of money is pouring into this space. With regard to opinions, please understand everybody's got an opinion. What I do see is that somebody will put an opinion out, and if they were wrong, they will get forgotten relatively quickly. If they're right, however, everybody's like, oh my God, that guy's a genius. So somebody just posted here, Tone Vays has been talking BTC 6-week run for Bitcoin up. Well, I do remember that gentleman actually got super bullish through here and got his ass handed to him. So be careful with just listening blindly to people that you may have seen once or twice make half decent calls. Okay, that's great. If anything, what I'd like, Ed, out of you is I'd like you to tell me what your reasons are. And let's build each and every one of us into making, educated, reasonable decisions, comments on price action, rather than just, even don't listen to me blindly. I don't like that. Oh yeah, absolutely, Raph. I love those. I haven't actually seen too many EVUs this year, though. It's a good, funny year. And it's interesting how the stock market has just gone one directional this year, right? I think we have some more coming up here at the end of the summer, heading into the fall. Jeremy. 21st of August, solar eclipse. I do notice too, though, there was a funny moon the other night. I don't know if there was a full moon or not, but I definitely know that a lot of people, a lot of humans are affected by full moons. But I noticed just anecdotally, a lot of people in my life around here are saying things like, man, I'm having a really tough time. I'm really stressed out. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, Raph, if there is a celestial event. Maybe we should go look at those again. It feels to me like a lot of people are really, really stressed out right now. I'm not quite sure why. And of course, Liam is an excellent barometer, my son, and Liam just went ballistic yesterday. So he's a pretty good barometer just of how people are feeling generally. Anyway, back to Bitcoin here. I don't think it's really a good idea to quote unquote call tops, and especially if we go and the market actually very politely carved out a 38.2 retracement and then just went and resolved that bullishly. To me, actually, that's a very powerful message. And I'm just worried because I saw people in the lounge and stuff saying, all right, it's time to go short. And I'm just like, be careful here, guys. This doesn't look to me like a market that we should be calling tops in just yet. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we have to do sort of this kind of grinding up kind of pattern here. There may be choppy through the day. And if you're like an hourly trader, 15-minute trader, very advanced trader, then okay, you can play your little 15-minute swings. I think we even had one on like Bitcoin through the weekend there. We had a very cute, fast little divergence set up off of the initial burst higher up here. But you didn't get a hell of a lot out of this thing, did you? And I'm worried that people are going to be calling tops. They're going to be saying, okay, this is it, this is the dump, and we're actually looking the wrong way, and you might see the market just power higher. As I sort of said on the Broiler Chicken show, really on the resolution of this double top, the breakout here, I just instantly covered all our shorts. Just cover them. and I'm not even short anymore. I've got a few of these, anti-Bitcoin proxies still on the books, but I'll just leave them to work. Also, too, I was very impressed with the resolution of this bullish bot. It was funny how through the weekend I was just like, I can't see how this market can't hit this 3470 level. And it was interesting how right into the sort of New York Open there, they went up and tagged that level. I was very surprised. But nonetheless, that target has been hit. And remember, we were talking about profile. Remember when we were seeing the resolution of this level up here, and we were seeing the market move higher? We took a look at this profile and just simply said, if this is the POC and the midpoint of this profile, and we already know what the downside range was, if we resolve above the POC and above value, where are we likely to push to? Does everybody see, dude? And if you want to, maybe go back and look at the Friday Daily Brief, the Thursday, the Broiler Chicken Show, to watch the evolution of this, because this is a super, super powerful trading concept, guys. Did anybody notice that? I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking to myself. I was absolutely stunned at how accurate that was. And it was almost like this level had to be hit before it could be done. So, the question ultimately here now becomes, and I don't know, is there anybody looking at this that doesn't understand how this bot setup worked? If so, maybe message me, go into the library page, watch the bot video tutorial. It's fairly straightforward. A little bummed at myself that I didn't take the trade, but nonetheless, I mean, like I said, we've got a shitload of Bitcoin now anyway. But what do you think, guys? Do you think this is a new level for us to be a buyer at here now? Anyone? I don't know. Yeah, can't really touch this right now. So nice to see a couple of our veterans are on board. This is the end of the move, not the beginning of the move. All right? I think it's dangerous. If anything, what I think I see here is, yeah, the market could move higher. Oops, that's not what I wanted. And off the daily charts, I think we're still pointing up here. But the relative risk of you actually buying this level, technically, if you buy this level, where's key support? Well, we might be head and shoulders in here and crap out. But really, you can argue key support is back at these lows, which is interesting, right? Because that's the old reload zone where the last big fight was. So I guess I don't have it on here, which is a bit of a surprise. I wonder where I put it. Oh, yeah, here it is. What I do expect is either, I think it's probably one of two scenarios. Number one, we just continue to chug our way higher here to get up into these bot areas, and then maybe roll over and come back and test that 3,000 area. I suppose that's doable. I would actually prefer that we just quietly top out here and work our way back down against this historic level. I would ideally actually like us to come down just a little bit below it, put in some nice market structure, then I'll just go back in and buy these sold coins. For the time being, though, can't chase, right? It's just not in your interest to chase up top here. And if anything, thinking bot kind of stuff, what we really want to see right now is just a nice consolidation. You could argue that's exactly what this was. And a nice big surge off the bottom, nice consolidation, sets up the next move. And hats off to everybody who did take that bot trade. I was very impressed. There were some people in the community that actually took this trade. So you just got paid. Way to go. Is it worth selling some BTC now? Surely. Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. Is it an idea just to let some go? I suppose at this target, you know, it's a pretty big number. I know James is watching the 3520 area, I think it is. That's a big GAN level. And then, of course, Goldman Sachs girl, she had this sort of 3500 area tapped as well. So I think on balance, it's not a terrible idea to take some profits up top here. The issue, though, ultimately is what's your plan? Like, why did you buy the Bitcoin to begin with? If you bought it as a long-term holding, investing, right, planning for the future, then ironically enough, the funny thing is, if we go back to this chart, you can see exactly where the next selling level for the little old lady is, way up here. I don't know if we're going to go there. I mean, that's the crazy thing about markets and this crypto. I'm feeling like maybe, you know, 400% is probably what's in store here. That would be a nice 200% tag of this range resolution. But it really, you know, somebody asked, is it worth selling my Bitcoin? And then Jeremy says, depending on your plan. No, actually, Jeremy just said exactly what I just said. When, why you bought it. Right? I mean, really, you have to ask yourself, Paul, why did you buy this thing to begin with? If it is just a short-term trade and you're just having fun in the market, flipping Bitcoins, great. And then hopefully your plan says exactly that. If you're a little old lady and you bought at $300, well, theoretically, you already have exactly set selling levels, and all you got to do is just follow your plan. Does that help at all, Paul? I mean, really, it all comes down to what is it you want to do. Been here less than a day. Oh, well, Paul, you just got a crash course. Maybe pop on over to the library and we'll see you in a month or two. But anyway, welcome to the site. But yeah, really the bottom line here, Paul, is it really all depends on what your plan says. And, you know, if anytime you hear me deviate from my message, you can always check in with Jeremy, my right-hand man. And I suppose Benjamin's sitting there going, hey, what am I, chopped liver or something? Benjamin's a great help too. And, you know, we're really, yeah, but is James here? I don't think James is here today, is he? Anyway, so these are some of my alumni that have been on the site forever. And these guys are great traders. They're really responsible, and they're also just like super, super nice people. So I'm so appreciative to have you guys in my life, especially after days like yesterday with Liam. Holy crap. So, you know, my simple message here is this is a bull market. Enjoy it. Right? We don't get rip-roaring bulls every day. I do think, though, heading into our cycle peak, we should be looking for some sort of top. And like I said, I just sort of alluded to this earlier. What I see now is gold topped out at $800 an ounce in 1980, right? 79.80, 800 and change. And then it spent the next 15 years working its way back down to $250, or basically about a, we'll call it 60–70% haircut. The cool part about Bitcoin and crypto right now is, can you see how, what is a 60–70% haircut? My hunch is 1618's got to be tagged. That's just me. I think we go up to the parking garage in Amanda's penthouse, but at the very least, I'm looking for 1.618. And what does that mean going forward? Actually, I think it means that we're probably going to find the base in Bitcoin prices is actually north of $1,000 now, which is great. In essence, this is, I would argue, this is probably going to be our playground for the next couple of years. So I'm exceedingly pleased at seeing, number one, new highs. Whew, this is still a bull. Way to go. And then number two, when this thing does break, the interesting thing is the break and the buy will actually be at about $1,100, $1,200, $1,300. So that's great. I'm just super stoked about that. So just enjoy it while it lasts, guys. Bull markets don't last forever. I'm not going to be in a hurry to call a top here. Could there be some back and forth here? Absolutely. And because we just broke to new highs, I have to look at pullbacks as buying opportunities. Okay, does everybody understand my general thoughts about Bitcoin right now? And of course, you know, just like that Tone Vase guys somebody was making reference to earlier, all that is one guy's opinion. That's it. And just like your poo-poo, everybody's got one. Yeah, well, I would say I would say that line, Kevin, but after what I just said, I don't think I'm gonna say that now. So the point here is everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's gonna tell you, I think Bitcoin's going up, I think Bitcoin's going down. The key here for us to be successful at this game over the long term is we gotta have a plan. And we have to be able to exercise our plan and stick to our plan. Do what you said you're going to do, right? And of course, you know, all our school programs and all that kind of stuff are designed to try and help you do that. All right, anything else I wanted to talk about? I think probably on balance. We don't have any divergences yet. So I'm not really looking for any sharpshooter kind of setups here. As you notice, where was it? Is this chart? Yeah. On Friday, we had a cute little divergence came in right through here. And I took the short, but if anything, I think this is an excellent anecdote of just a trade, right? So I took the short of the double top, and it was interesting. I even had a tutorial as this was working away. And then instantly, as the market finished Friday, it went up and took out the high, and I just covered the short. Not that big of a stress. It's just trade's done, walk away. What do you think, guys? Was that a good idea? Do you see how the market actually broke the high on this candle here? Gave me the opportunity just to clean up the trade and walk away. What do you think? Was that a half decent idea to cover my shorts? Now, the point here is half of the problem with trading is not necessarily just going out and make a pile of money from your setup. Hey, look at me. But it is making sure that when the market has told you you're wrong, you act. This is where most people fail when it comes to trading, is they just simply don't act. And they just say, oh, well, you know, well, this eye's still working, so, you know what, maybe I'll just, and then, oh, fuck, I'm dead. That's right, Benjamin. That's, this is a losing trade, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people would be like, oh, great, what, you know, why am I subscribing to this service? The guy puts up setups and they don't work. Well, does anybody remember, and actually maybe this is a good little lesson for that new gentleman who's on the site here. What is the typical accuracy of setups for CME floor traders? Does anybody remember what that number is? Yeah, 55%. So that means they're expecting to get stopped out 45% of the time. I think we can do a bit better than that. But nonetheless, here is an absolutely perfect example. Cute little divergence, cute little double top, little fractal. Take your trade, take your shot. But if you're proved wrong, obey yourself, right? Obey the rules. Yeah, you're telling me, Paul. You're telling me. And as I said, the key here is what's most important is you want to take little risks. And if this thing had topped out against these highs and crapped out, we would have been paid at least twice what we were willing to risk. In this particular case, stopped out, next bust in 10 minutes. Not that big of a deal. So as we sit right now, do we have any divergence confirmed here? We've got this big potential divergence. That's what I've written here, pot div. If we come up and rally and make a new high here, but don't make a new high on the short term, Ryan's going to go back into stalking mode. And just, you know, same old, rinse and repeat. What's interesting on the 4 hour, and this is sort of what I think might set up that pullback against the historic breakout highs, You can see on the 4-hour, there is this, that's that same divergence forming here. It's still forming though. So we have to be patient and we just have to let it set up. I suppose if we start getting nice little Emmys up in here on the 4-hour RSI, I'll start getting a lot more attentive. Right now, just cool your jets. Nothing really big to do here. And you remember on Friday, we put up these 4-hour, no, I guess it was a broiler chicken show. We put up these, we had the big burst, room, and we did have a couple early top callers that and I don't think anybody on the site took shorts here, but maybe you did. They got flushed out. Then the market went sideways for basically the entire weekend. And then instantly on the New York Open, boom, they popped it up top here. Interesting how that level is basically right up in through that 127, which is a very normal extension level. And actually, I think that's probably that hit right there at 127 right there. And then we extended higher here, so there's no structural signal yet. And really, I don't know about trade location, because I'm thinking if we accept above this trend line, we even talked about this on the recent weekend show. If we accept above this level, we're probably heading up into here. So that's sort of where I'm thinking this one wants to go. So nothing for us to do on the short side yet. We just gotta, in my opinion, and what I'm doing, I'm just gonna give this a little bit more time to develop. Thought it was interesting over on things like Ethereum. We had a bullish bot set up here, and it actually gave us a really cute little head and shoulders pattern right off the bot level. Isn't that sick? When you see that, it's just like, wow. And that set up these levels as trade metrics going forward. You can see the move stop to break even level was hit very quickly. Then we moved up, hit stop to move stop to scratch. Move stop to trailing. So at the very least, I'd be just waiting for some structural signs of failure up here to maybe move your stops up. But really, I don't see any reason why we can't tag 300 here. It was interesting because as we were breaking out of Ethereum, I did exactly the same concept with the ARK, and I just simply said, well, it looks like POC is somewhere around in here, and you can see where the bottom of value is, this low down in here. If we accept above the POC, where are we likely to move to based on the parabola concept of volume profile? And gee whiz, what a coincidence. This looks exactly like that darn Bitcoin chart. Does anybody see the similarities? Maybe yes, maybe no. So I don't see a big reason to get bearish here just yet. If anything, we want to see some sort of structural pattern come in here. Maybe let's start hunting for divergences. Let's see, do we have anything? Nothing in OBV yet. Little smattering of divergence there in MACD. Willie is stupid, so we're way too late to be a buyer anyway. And you can see the sort of volume push is waning here a bit, but kind of like Bitcoin over the weekend, I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe come up, flirt around here, right, and then doink, and then doink. All right, that's sort of what I wouldn't be surprised has to happen here. But again, it's just my opinion. The setup is really what I want you guys to learn. Can you see momentum, volume, all confirming this level? And are you ready, willing, and able to pull the trigger at the 25 level? Have your stop working at 0 or just below there? And of course, getting ready to make money on the bull. Okay, so those are a couple the bigger cryptos that I wanted to look at. I know, woulda, coulda, shoulda. You know what we say there, Kevin? Next bus in 10 minutes. And the cool part about it, you know, like new people to the site, Paul, you probably are a little bit overwhelmed by what you're seeing here. But the great part about this, guys, is the market isn't going anywhere. Setups happen all the time. It's just a question of us just being patient and disciplined and just waiting for the setups to develop. All right. I suppose, you know, We did a couple over the weekend. I had, well, I guess it wasn't the weekend. I guess it was the end of last week. I told you guys I got, and everybody hopefully has all their list of Trex coins on TradingView now. So you all got a nice, thick, robust list you can scroll through on a daily basis. We were going through the list. I guess it was late last week. And this little one popped up on the list for us, and just following the basic shark concept. Well, what the hell's this? Oh, something's not right here. What happened? Doink. Hey, there we go. That was weird. So just based off of the simple shark concept. Oh, what the hell's going on here? Brian's going crazy. What happened to my template? Not weird. Okay, let's try and load this up. Okay. The daily levels are here. All right. Then we'll go down to hourly. I had all these levels on here. I'm not quite sure what happened to them. Anyway, something doesn't look right here. Oh, there we go. So this is just a simple shark setup. So we identified market structure bottom off of here, worked our bid at 78.6, and we got a nice cheeky little fill right off of the lows here, down at 2,400. We got a bunch of these bids working. This is the only one that I saw that fired, so I was pretty happy to see that fill. Has this market, quote unquote, officially bottomed? I would expect the bottom, the W to be confirmed when we go through that high. So we were just doing nothing more than just taking nibbles off the bottom end of the range here. We'll see how that plays out. I've got a bunch of these bids working, but I'm not quite sure what happened to my list. Something happened to it. So I don't think I'm going to go into too much detail. By all means, any of the bids, I posted them in the lounge at the end of last week. If you have any questions about if any of them got filled, by all means, feel free to give me a shout. And what I usually like to do, especially now that the school term is over, is I'll go through this list a couple times a day. If I see anything that jumps out at me, I'll bring it to your attention. And I did see there was one actually this morning that did jump out at me. It was LUM, was that? I don't know whether it was, no, I don't think it was LUM. No, that's not it. What was it? LMC, was that it? I posted in the lounge. Yeah, LOMO. Oh, this is an interesting looking little chart. I don't know what's going on here. Why is this not connecting? Symbols to all charts. There we go. Cute little, came right back down into a reload zone. Cute little double bottom. Some buyers are stepping up here. Nice momentum turn. Willie's got room to run here. This is a cute little coin. So, Brian, I'm not going to chase anything. So I just went and threw my stink bid right off the line in the sand. And notice that that stink bid off the line in the sand is just going to be a test of these tails right in here. So kind of like that, first that I just picked up. Same sort of logic. Want to see some sort of signs of bottom, and I'm going to work my stink bid off 78.6s. Just see if I can get lucky. So if anything, guys, I always like to give you guys something to chew on through the day. I think this is definitely something worth considering. If you don't have a piece of this in your portfolio. A few of the ones that we bought recently have been perking up nicely, and I think I posted in the lounge that not a bad idea just to make sure, go through your order book and make sure you have open orders working. I was hoping I could just find it here, but I don't see it. That PTOY that we bought recently seems to be perking up a bit here. Where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. So just make sure to have your open orders working, because you can see they're trying to ramp this thing. Everything's pointing up right at the moment. So just make sure to have those open orders working. I'm not saying it's going to pop in the next 5 minutes, but it looks very uppy here. Okay, I think I'm going to leave my commentary. I gave you one name to chew on. Go take a look at that Lomo. It looks really interesting. I don't know what the fundamental story is. Maybe through the day you guys can enlighten me on that regard. There is that first. We also got filled on a stink bid on GCR. We've been buying back into GCR. You know, keep in mind a lot of these coins, they went absolutely crazy through the spring, and we got off like multiple trades. So this one, I think, good example of time to start going and buying them back. So you can see the beautiful bottom of the range, monster spike, bang, 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 out go doubles. She's come right back down, and we've started to buy back this name. And that's it. That's a very typical strategy I like to do. So if you see that post, this is actually like one of like 4 different orders that got filled here. We got filled on a little bit one up here. We got filled on this recent buy, and we have a couple more bids working down right against the low end of the range here. So I see a lot of this, right? There's a lot of this. And if you just simply, you know, pick your coins, pick your fundamental stories that you want to be a buyer in, wait for them to come back down into buying zones. If you want to take the little old lady approach and just nibble, nibble, nibble off of levels, totally fine. If you want to sharpshooter, try and time your purchases a little bit better, then I think we have to just wait for names like this to actually put in W's and tell us that indeed they have bottomed and that's the end and we're heading back up. If anything, when you see this kind of action, you see how it's like 15, 1600 and a quick spike up to 3000. This is a total pump and dump, right? In essence, this is almost like a manufactured trade. So really what we want to see with these W's, and, you know, it should just, you know, like what I say, you know, what you're a grade 3 English teacher, what does a W look like to them? Really, we want to see just a nice structural base, right? This is the kind of shit you really want to look for. And, you know, we showed you a couple names that are kind of looking like that. This, as it stands right now, still looks very, I haven't found my bottom. I'm looking for my bottom. Can anybody see my bottom? And by the way, right in the middle of the bottom is one of those things that everybody's got. Anyway, so just give you a little context of what's going on there. Oh, maybe I had it on this screen. Maybe that's why I was screwing myself up. I had 2 different screens going. Oh, okay. Well, that might make sense. Let's see. Do we have a... You know, here's an interesting name that I think, you know, if you want to try and sneak back in off of half-decent names, look at how this thing... Like, and Jeremy's here. Jeremy actually was a seller all through this fucking candle. I sold a bunch. I think I ran out of coins to sell somewhere up in this area, or I missed it, right? But can you guys see how all they've done, and it's so sad, right? But it's just so typical capitalism. If we try and negate this one bar, look at what they've actually done here. And if anything, if you haven't seen this before, write this down. All right, what are we supposed to have in front of us while Brian's jibber-jabbering away here? What do we call this right here? Does anybody know what we give this name, where there's this big open space between this level here and that level there? A gap. That's right. And really the point here is that gaps like to be filled. They don't like to be left open. This is, in essence, the market's basically saying there is a whole world of unfinished business here. And really, do you see how you could, just as an idiot institutional investor, place your open order to buy right basically at the top of that gap? And look at this fill. That's ridiculous. And now look what's happening. You guys see the double bottom that's trying to come in here? So here's one, and nobody's interested in the POTS coins anymore. But, you know, there is the W, and if you did reload zones, we're definitely a reload zone, and we filled in the gap. You can even see momentum is trying to turn back up here. Any sort of sign of bullishness, and this guy might be right back off to the races here. And actually, we even saw that on that little BCC. Did sort of the same thing. Where we go down to like the hourly chart. You see, said this guy didn't gap, so a little bit different. But can you see how it comes down? Remember we said grade 3 English teacher, what do we want W's to look like? Can you see how this is a nice, widely well-defined W? You see that? Remember I remember specifically on Friday's show, we were even talking specifically about how this thing might be setting up a trade. You guys, does anybody remember that? Oh, it's a beautiful looking little chart. It's pretty simple stuff. The question ultimately here, and this goes back to new people to the site, is can you build a plan that simply says, I'm going to, number one, try and hunt trade location. What do you think the odds are if we did a reload zone from that high down to that low? The reload zone is probably right in here. What do you think? The odds are high or the odds are low? I'd say the odds are probably pretty high. Oh, look at that. It's even a bit higher. You can buy at or below the reload zone, even better. So you can say, and you know, for new people to the site, is our new person still here, Paul? Really, let's see if the community can help Paul. Is there any kind of cadence to how we hunt setups? Does it, what am I looking for here? There's supposed to be reasons for a trade, and how many reasons are there supposed to be? 3. All right. So, you know, Paul, as sort of our new person here today, I'm going to use you as our guinea pig. We always like to have 3 reasons to consider a trade. And ideally, we'd like them to go location, then some sort of momentum signal, and ideally, we love those divs. All right, divergences in momentum signals, que bella. And then finally, we want to have some structure to just simply frame the risk on the trade. So here we can say location, well, we're at or below the reload zone, check. Then do we have any momentum signals, any structure? Well, it actually looks like this thing has been in divergence for quite some time, eh? And then finally, you know, and we can also throw in momentum signals. Willie's nice and stupid. And we got a really nice looking little W that formed on Willie here and on the OBV right here. And what's interesting about OBV, and I don't know whether any of you guys remember this or not, but is there something we're supposed to acknowledge? Well, actually, this doesn't really work that well for that. But in essence here, a little bit of a head fake on the move down here, but a nice turn, not the best turn, but wow, huge volume breakout. And I remember, I don't know, I think it was Saturday, somebody had pointed out, wow, massive volume breakout on BCC here. So do we have momentum signals? Right? Well, I think on balance, not bad. Nice volume push, big old impetus push there. We have location. So we can just go through our checklist, right? So we're location, check. Momentum signal, Willie stupid, W's coming in, bullish MACD divergence, check. And now finally, we're just waiting for some sort of structure to frame the trade. And this is the technician's favorite letter of the alphabet, good old W, where you're just going to simply buy the W. You're going to risk to the bottom of the W. And who can help Paul? What's the simple targeting tool that we're going to use to try and keep us honest? Because everybody, of course, is looking for moon, but that's not really realistic. What's a simple, realistic tool that we can give Paul to help him come up with price targets here? Anybody help him? F. Oh, we could swear at the market. That's always fun. 2 to 1. That's not bad. Looking, hey, Sebastian, Mr. fucking El Tangonator. This is basically his setup. And it's Mr. Gann for the win. That's correct. Is our 50% rule. It's just a nice, simple, keep you honest indicator where you're not going to be asking for the market to go to the moon. What is a natural level for price to retrace to? And that's the 50% rule. It is just sort of a keep you honest indicator. So technically speaking, if you had the balls to sit there and wait for that 50% level, damn, that's a pretty damn attractive trade, eh? 15 to 1 risk reward? Motherfucker. You know, if anything, probably a good idea if, you know, the buy level is 0.68, we'll call it 0.7. If you get to 14, it's not such a bad idea just to get yourself into a risk-free trade, sell half on a double. But believe it or not, I know it sounds crazy, but I don't think it's unrealistic to actually look for this level to be traded to down the road. You could, you know, really, if anything, but the issue here is this is an hourly chart, Aaron. And I guess what I'm thinking, well, that's assuming that Bitcoin's price stays up where it is, eh, Center? What happens if Bitcoin price has to come back down below 3,000? And maybe what ends up happening here is some of the capital that's flowed into Bitcoin flows out of Bitcoin and back into this thing. Who knows? You can't write better fiction than reality, right? Who knows what the hell's the story's going to be? And, you know, would we put it beyond the miners to maybe inject a little bit of FUD into the Bitcoin story? Is that completely beyond them? I wonder. So anyway, long and short of it here is, I mean, I'm not pounding the table. Remember, as I had said before, you know, especially for like new people to investing that really don't know what the fuck they're doing here, this is an hourly chart. Cool your jets. Right? If anything, all new people to investing, we should be looking at the daily price chart. And when you look at the daily price chart, it hasn't done anything. It just doesn't have enough history yet for us to really make any conclusive decisions. It's just up and down like a horse drawers, right? Yeah, but isn't it interesting? Remember we said earlier, this is the daily chart. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. Can you see that nice little candle body reversal up there? Right, where is that? That's at 28,000. And where's our 50% level? It's at 26,000. So can you see what's happening here? They can literally take the market back up and just kiss this nice little open close level. Maybe go eat a little bit of wick. Not that big of a deal. And all this is just a simple, they're just playing within this playground. Does that make sense, guys? Anyone? Anyway, hope so. Okay, I know there were a lot of requests, and I've just been jibber-jabbering away here, so I apologize. Keith, you're at 10 o'clock, right? Or Keith, are you here? So you told me you only need about 10, 15 minutes of time. Yeah, so I'm going to eat a bit into your tutorial, if you don't mind. Okay, where were we? Where did we finish off last? I remember we looked at that. Okay, so AEON, maybe we'll start off there. AEON, AEON, Bush. Bush in the bush. Okay, I'm not quite sure what happened there. Thought I did that. Let's try that again. AEON. There we go. Well, oh boy. If anything, I love this WE action down in here. Remember we were just talking about GCR, and now we were saying, am I a bottom? Am I a bottom? Am I a bottom? Am I a bottom? Well, you know that this thing is a bottom when it does this. Can everybody see the little W there? And the interesting thing is we could probably take a nice horizontal support and resistance level off of that, and let's see if the market's working towards there. Aha. So, you know, just like the GCR, if you are buying this, it looks relatively respectable. You're certainly not chasing the top, but at best, the little lady nibbles. And you want to see this kind of WE type pattern for you to know that there is a bottom working. So nothing really to do there right now. Volume doesn't really look very impressive. Willie's stupid, so obviously way too late to be a seller. If anything, let's let this divergence come in here and confirm itself. Nice little counter trend rally, maybe something like this that sets that up. And then forms a bottom, a nice W, and away we go. But as it stands right now, there's nothing to do there. Next, VTR. So we got here, VTR. VTorrent. Yeah. Nice rally the other day. Boom, boom. If anything, you know, this is the same sort of thing as the coins that we just looked at. New lows, big pump. What do you think, guys? All right, Rohan, did you enjoy? I hope you enjoyed the offering today. Does it make sense, guys, that this almost looks like one of these pump and dump manufactured rallies again? You see how this low here, 4,800. What a coincidence. Basically at about 9,000, 10,000, they get a double, free coins, and then they just let it go. So until we start seeing, and let's see if we can find where the W is here, right? Until we start seeing down, up, down, no new lows, up through the middle part of the W, until we start seeing that, right, we're still in correction mode. And also, too, if we think sort of market symmetry, and we've done this on a number of coins recently, if we just go, say, off of this low up to this high, I'm not saying it's going to look like this, but market symmetry has a funny habit of being relatively accurate if we don't have any new fundamental drivers. So if I'm thinking about what price actions sort of ought to look like going forward, you can see, you know, big rallies, right? Counter trend rallies, same sort of thing, big counter trend rallies. But really, I'm kind of thinking that this kind of has to happen here. It's going to be a pain in the butt. Got to let these things calm down a bit here. All right, nothing for me to do there. PASC. Oh, yeah, I remember we looked at that over the weekend. Oh, goodness. All right, and still not that much data, so obviously that's a concern unto itself. Do like the interesting location. Give me a nice move through this W, actually confirm the W there, and I'll become much more interested. Nanny nibbles against the bottom end of the range, perfectly fine. Put in this W, then we can start getting aggressive. GRC, I think I just looked at that one, didn't I? I think I bought some of it. GRC. Polo? Anybody trade on Polo anymore? The same thing as exactly that other store we just talked about. You can see where the bottom of this thing is. Boom, boom. All right. You can see wicks and tails like to be eaten, and they got this funny old tail just dangling out here. I wouldn't be surprised if it has to go down and fill that. Little nibbles along here. You're not chasing, so that's perfectly fine by me. Internally, nothing really to get too excited about. You'll know, just as I just said, about half a dozen other times, you'll know that this thing is bottomed when we actually put in a W and it starts turning. Right now, if anything, I think these lows are a bit vulnerable here with this tail. A little bit suspicious. Okay, what else we got here? QTUM. I think I remember seeing that on the screen over the weekend. QTUM. Oh yeah, I remember this. Beautiful looking little breakout here. I don't know whether you can chase it here though. It's a little too late. Yeah, nice looking double bottom. Can everybody see the double bottom down in here? Probably if we look at lower time frames, we'll probably see it a little better. So if there's your base, there's your double bottom breakout level. Kind of a tough one to trade. If anything, I think, the double bottom breakout level, what do you think? Does this look like a candidate for 78.6s here? In fact, we got this fib. Let's go see. So if you see like little W's come in, but you don't want to chase the W, I highly recommend this shark setup. Such a cute little setup. If you can get the levels drawn correctly. All right, so there's 78.6. You would have waited for the breakout. Looks like, actually, yeah, you got your fill, right? Oh, really close. Oh, those cheeky bastards. And even with that big old gap there, that's surprising. So I would have been working my bid down in this level here. Would they have filled me? It's a good possibility that there were a bunch of buy orders down in here and they just really didn't want to fill us. That's totally possible. Actually, let's make sure that that's accurate. Darn, that's close, eh? Jesus, look how close that is. So that would have been, missed it by that much. And I suppose as this thing keeps making more doubles, or more W's, beg your pardon, you can keep moving your fib up. So if you missed this one, I noticed, so then there was this breakout. So I'm going to draw my fib off of that level, and that actually gives me a fill right there, right? Oh, that's a pretty sweet level. There's this breakout. Oh, and look at that. They brought it right back down against that level and then said, see you later. So hopefully you guys can see the power of this 78.6. Just a sick little trade tool. And of course you can see nice little reversal through the reload zone there. Can we touch it now? I don't know. I'll ask the group. Can I buy this asset here? It's pretty simple, eh? And Keith, you just went through the level 1. What do you think? Do you think you see the market better now? Do you think you see the market sort of the way that I would like you to look at the market? Awesome. If you did want to buy this, I suppose, just get your little reload zone tool going. Even right now, excuse me. Where is our magic 78.6? So that's interesting. Look how the 78.6 will just basically be a filling in of this notch, a revisit of the POC, and just really a retest of this original breakout level there. That's not a bad level, if you want to keep an eye out, 0.0024 on this thing. Okay, let's see how we're doing here. What time is it? Oh, only 5 minutes after. Not bad. Bella coin, Bella. Good old Bella. We were in some Bella bots recently, but they kind of fizzled. So really, I've been looking at this lately too much. Let's see what we got here. So hourly chart, daily chart. Oh, I seem to remember we talked about this last week. Cute little double bottom right there. Not a bad idea. You know, again, thinking about 50% rules. The only problem is this really that great of a trade location? Yeah, it's debatable. I really don't like the look of this big fat M staring us in the face. Something has failed here. And also remember that Bella rallied ahead of everybody else. And we also had one other coin that sort of rallied ahead of everybody else, and I sort of suggested using it as sort of a what to expect out of the rest of the crypto space. Does anybody remember? Yeah, Dash. And I think Dash got kind of beat up here, didn't it? Yeah, Dash is looking awfully heavy as well, eh? So, you know, I kind of suggested what's the summer of crypto going to look like? It's probably going to look like this. And Dash rallied ahead of everybody else, and now he's looking heavy. So when we look at Bella, Bella rallied ahead of everybody else. And actually, you can see that Bella's even ahead of Dash, right? Can you see that? Can you see how it's like Bella's like a week or two ahead of Dash here? So if anything, I think Bella is probably a really good leading indicator. So somebody said that they have a fundamental event coming up here on the 16th. So if anything, probably the market's setting up for that fundamental event. But what do you think, guys? Are we seeing any buyers step up here? I don't see much going on. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. So let's try and redo that. Well, here, like this, like that. There we go. I suppose, right, we kind of want to watch for WE type action here. And I just don't see any bullish impetus here at all. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. Hey, Brian says the guys decided to cancel the Wi-Fi section. I can't answer. All right. So little bit of a smattering of a W, you aggressive traders, if you wanted to take that, I suppose, right? Probably not of enough of a 3 reasons for me to justify the trade. You can see there's 78.6, so that must have happened in a reload zone. Yeah. So you got trade location. It's not terrible. Volume profile wise, you know, you can see where the point of control is. You can see where value high is. Value high here now is going to be a major resistance point. So location, okay. Divergence, not really confirmed yet. I'd really like to see a breakout through this level. If anything, what I think I'd like to see is I'd like to see a pop-up, then a pullback, then a cute little W, and away we go. All right, so give me the pop-up. You want to hunt for those sharks off of this original bottom, okay. But understanding that if we lose these lows down in here and you're trading this, I think you probably got to walk away. So that's kind of what I would, if I wanted to trade this, what do I want to see going forward to actually get me all excited? Right. Is there a chart describing little old lady? Not really. If anything, Tim, you should go into the course manual and you should read the risk management module. I think you're in the fall program, Tim. So China Tim, aren't you even, you like to come into these daily briefs? Maybe he's not here anymore. Hey, there he is. So you're in the fall program, right? I don't know. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. We'll go into Little Old Lady in particular. There are a few people that are a little verklempt at me that I put the course textbook on the library page. But if you want to go and read the course textbook on your own to try and understand what the heck Little Old Lady is all about, really it's covered under our risk management module, because you need to understand that Little Old Lady per se is a risk management approach. It's a way of managing risk. It's not a setup per se. Yeah, it's not a setup. I mean, technically, you could trade the bot using Little Old Lady risk management. You could trade our Nanny Nibbles kind of idea using the Little Old Lady risk management module. But I just wanted to show you, but it's taking me too long to find it. Where the hell is it? But in essence, there are many different types of risk takers in the market. And really all the Little Old Lady is they put less than 5% of their stake into the market, and they can literally risk the entire amount. And usually I would run this for, you know, little old ladies that are busy at their bridge club or in the garden and stuff. They don't want to be called from by me on a daily basis. They'd like to participate in the stock market, the venture capital market, whatever. But you know, they don't want to be harassed on a daily basis for trades. So we often just pick names that are right at the bottom of the range with half decent fundamental ideas, and we just go take little nibbles. So that's in essence what the Little Old Lady approach to investing is all about. And it, you know, it works well in a retail brokerage environment to help manage, you know, large baskets of assets across various different markets. Could we look at Strat and NEO? You want two? Jeez, somebody's really pushing the envelope here. So Strat, you know, quite a bit like a lot of the recent crypto. Insane face rips up through the spring, so typical. I don't even know, you know, I remember back in the spring, everybody and their brother was just in love with this thing. We've got some on the book. I think we have some on the books. Maybe we missed this one. I've got a funny feeling we missed this one. If I was going to be a buyer, probably fairly straightforward. I got to wait for this thing to calm down. And interesting, look how it came right down and tagged 78.6 and then jackknifed higher. So if anything, I'm thinking here, manufactured trade, you know, what is a 50% level off of this low back up to the highs? If anything, these guys are probably looking for one more push up top here. But I could totally see that guys who, you know, put the bottom in here, they probably paid themselves here. I think on balance, you know, maybe we have a nice little bull AB equals CD that takes us up top. Right, something like that. That'll validate 50% level. That'll come up, test these highs. I see a cheeky little gap that could be filled in right up there. So certainly couldn't be a buyer here today. And way too late. Well, even too early to be a seller in size. If anything, if you want to be a seller of this thing, go and hunt good old reload zones. But in this case, it's a reload short zone. Oh, looks something like that. Right. So interesting how the AB equals CD is going to try and take us right up into that mountain man level. So, and you know, you've often heard me say RLZ ping pong. Can you guys see the ping pong match that's developing here? So kind of like, you know, how we saw that dash chart come right down into its reload zone and work its way up through the end of this, you know, through the middle part of the summer. I think I could see the same thing here. Is this investment grade? Is this even a trade level that I would consider right now? No. But I can understand bottom fishers that just played the 78.6. They're working their, you know, their sell halves on doubles. What is that? That's 10,000. So, oh yeah, so they even already got a free position here. That's the move up into that 20. And if anything, I might argue the guys that put the bottom in here because they had to absorb all this selling, right? So the guys that put the bottom in their institutions, our friends, they're paying themselves on this counter trend rally. In essence, that's a free trade for them now from here on out. So I think that's sort of what's going on there. Right, one more and we'll call it a day. NEO. NEO. This is, what the hell is this? Oh, Jesus, straight up. Well, I can't, I certainly couldn't touch this thing here. I don't know whether, does it have more history on the Polo chart? Oh, that's a little better. Yeah, I don't know whether this is the same coin, though. This is NEOS. So no, I don't think it is. NEO, nope, so this is the only one we got here. Yeah, so, I mean, there's no way I could even consider buying this here. Just way, way, way too late. If anything, this almost looks very similar to the BCC. You see the cute little W down in here? NEO was ANS. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure how this story goes. I suppose ANS, oh, because this thing's just listed on Phoenix or something like that, right? Or is it some crazy exchange? Doesn't even appear to be on Trex. ANS, what did I put? Oh, I wonder why that's not there. Did I do something wrong? Yunbi? I'm not quite sure why that's not coming up here. Let's see, do I have it in the list here? ANS, there it is. Doesn't look like TradingView likes it today. Maybe they're having arguments with the Chinese. Me Chinese, me play joke, me put pee-pee in your coke. ANS. What we got here? All right, so if I remember correctly, this thing wedged out nicely, eh? Yeah. And I remember on the weekend show, we looked at this. I suppose you could make an argument that, is there no more data here? But this data stops. It broke all-time high, so it's gone through here. So, if anything, this is probably just a Yunbi, right? In Chinese yuan. Oh, God, what a headache. I suppose you could make an argument if you wanted to trade this trend continuation pattern. This is where our little bot setup would have helped you. This isn't a name that I'd really be interested in, just because I really don't. I like to have a little bit of trade history to back up my ideas. But nonetheless, right? Bot says correction has to be at least 30%, but no more than 66. So in essence, we came down. Looks like we validate that. Then you take your fib and you replicate it, clone it, and draw and just simply extend it off of whatever this low is. Then you're going to go into your settings and you're going to change them to 25, 50, and 66. You probably have to reverse it. And there's your trade metric. So bot traders, oh, isn't that interesting? So bot traders actually just had their target hit. Everybody see that? This actually looks a lot like the Bitcoin chart. You see the similarities? And the easy way for you to see this graphically is boom, boom. Boom, boom. See that AB equals CD? That's basically it right there. So very much like the Bitcoin, what do you think? Is this a buying event or a selling event right here? I think it's probably not a bad idea to take some profits, get paid. You don't have to sell it all. But this would be a ring not register, go buy Kevin's Lambo, a Fiat 500. Okay. Okay, so if anything, that's actually a really cool little example of a bullish bot. And what do you see this really cool? Look at the double bottom that actually set up right off the bot level. Look at this cool little resolution in here too. Look at this. Bitcoin will cruise through 5,000 in the short term. Max, that idiot. So, and actually we should write back on here. Yeah, so when the hell is Max Coin gonna fucking get going? Max, delete it. Yeah. But yeah, I actually got a double off on that Max Coin though, so I can't complain. But I definitely have to I gotta say, yeah, right. Don't I don't know, I'll come up with some funny ass smart ass answer for that guy. That's funny. Don't say bimbo. Oh, you can't totally. Okay, I think we should probably leave it at that for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Give you about an hour and 20 minutes there, and we give you some nice ideas to chew on through the day. Okay, I think we'll leave it at that, and it's just his opinion. Yeah. So have yourselves a great afternoon, everybody. Keith, let's head on over to your tutorial, and for the level oneers, stick on the site. And I think Keith has actually said that he will make his tutorial open after we have a quick conversation. So, if you are a level oneer and you'd like to get in some extra tutorial time, Keith has, yeah, well, what the hell. Jamie, if you want to pop in, you can pop in and ask a question too, okay? All right, so why don't we leave it at that? You guys have yourselves a great rest of your day. We'll see everybody tomorrow. All the best, and bye for now.